So morning, my lovely yogis. Always lovely meeting you on the mat. So wherever you want to start, seated or lying down. And this beautiful weather, I know some of you are indoors or outdoors. Just that added little sort of benefit of the summer. Take a few deep breaths. Close your eyes for a moment. And just take a few moments to just acclimatise to your mat and where you are and what we're about to do with our yoga practice. If your body could smile, where would it be smiling? And maybe you can even notice like a little turn up of the sides of your mouth as you sit here and look forward to your practice and just this time for you that you deserve, for healing, for balancing physically and mentally, and for just sort of evolving into the person that you want to be with this continued commitment to your practice. How do you feel today? Just check through physically, just notice if the shoulders are tight or the neck, anything going on through the back and spine, or any of the major joints, the hips, the knees, shoulders. Don't read into the story, just know that it's there maybe for a reason to perhaps slow you down, and that when we think all is well, then hopefully there is a gradual healing that goes on. So if you're lying down, I'd love you to join me seated now. Have a moment to bring your knees in and rock your body. And if you're already seated and you'd just like to sort of roll the shoulders and move the head, please do. I have this wonderful book that one of my lovely students has recommended to me, and I'm kind of reading through it. Some of it I already do myself, which is wonderful, and then other bits are really new and exciting to bring into just life, our day-to-day and our practice. And this is called the 1 minute rescue breath. So you can just start seated or lying down, but seated I think is better. And basically we're going to just take 3 lovely deep breaths in through the nose, but we're going to stick the tongue out, a little bit like lion breath, but without kind of moving. And we're just going to, the sound ha, so, but we stick the tongue out. So I'll just demonstrate. Like you're sort of misting up a mirror. So we'll do that 3 times, and then we're just going to go into, just close the eyes and breathe in for the count of 5. And then exhale through the nose for the count of 5. Nothing else other than that. And then after that, we're just going to imagine that with our diaphragm that is moving, it domes up as we exhale, and as we inhale, it comes down. That is turning into a little bit of a smile. So we're going with this smiley theme today. So just rest your hands to Dhyana Mudra, because we'll go straight into meditation. So just take a lovely deep breath in through the nose. And again. And one more. This really empties all the stagnant, stale air out of the lungs and really just sort of brings in a fresh new breath. So just keep the eyes closed, and for 5 breaths, we'll inhale for 5 and exhale for the count of 5. And as you do this, as the diaphragm moves down, imagine it's smiling. On that inhale, the smile. And so we'll go now, we'll come into meditation where we're just going to follow the breath. And if you want to, you can continue to imagine that as you breathe in and the diaphragm comes down from its dome, that it kind of is turning into a little bit of an internal smile and everything's smiling on the inside. So we'll take 5 minutes. Allow the mind to wander, but be aware of all the thoughts. Be the conscious witness of your thoughts. Relax. Stay with the image of that lovely big smile internally. Witnessing your thoughts still. Be that conscious observer. Just with one more conscious breath, we'll finish that quiet meditation practice. How do you feel? Can you still feel that lovely smile internally? We're going to come into mantis, so a lovely stretch for the back. So when you're ready, onto knees. Take the knees wide. If there's any issues with your knees, just put something behind so it releases the compression a bit. If you want a little kind of cushion under the belly, then you can, if you want it to be a bit more restorative. Otherwise, just let yourself come down. I quite like to bring the toes to touch together in this pose, and if it feels nice, you can bring the thumbs to touch and the first fingers, so the hand makes like a diamond shape. And then we're just going to explore how this feels. Noticing where you're feeling the most sensation, perhaps the hip flexors, inner thighs and groin. Relaxing arms and shoulders and neck. And as you breathe deeply, just looking for tension that you just can keep allowing yourself to relax. Notice if you're tense in your forearms or your hands or wrists. And observe your mind. What are the thoughts you're thinking? How does your breath feel? Is it easy or laboured in any way? This is a really lovely pose for your stomach channel, where we can really feel connected on the top of the shins, lower legs to the mat. Stimulates the stomach channel. Where does this pose feel easier now? The initial tension might have eased a bit now. Notice if you want to stretch your arms out more. And then we'll gently just lift our head slowly and walk our hands back. Really taking the time to come out of this pose. We're going to come into neutral for this one. Partway through our practice today, we're not going to come into neutral. We're just going to come into a few moments of sitting, and there's a reason for that. I'll explain. But come into neutral spine now. Lying down. So lovely to stretch the body out when we come out of a compressive pose like that. Feel perhaps coldness or a temperature difference in some way around the tops of the thighs, the hip creases, possibly lower back. Certainly, I would say, tops of feet and the shins. Just follow where it feels a little bit different. And know that we are stimulating chi, prana, moving around the body, where it gets a bit stuck and stagnant often. And certainly in the sacral, around hips and shoulders, where emotional energy can get really lodged and blocked. So enjoying the deep belly breaths here. Maybe you can notice the tingly toes. When you're ready, let's draw the right knee in, then the left knee. Have a moment to hug. You might still be feeling sensation. That's okay, just enjoy being mindful of everything that's going on. We're going to come up, roll up into dragonfly. So extending legs out. Take a moment just to adjust yourself. And if you want a little kind of a small rolled up blanket under the edge of the buttocks, and that can feel quite nice. Or under knees, whatever. If you need a bit of support there, that's fine too. Otherwise, we'll come into a lovely forward fold. What's the first thing you notice when you immediately come into this pose? It might be tightness around the shoulders or the upper part of the shoulders and the neck. And then as you gradually start to breathe to belly and into the upper back, you can feel the muscles of your back expand. And the mid-back, lower ribs. And then as we release a bit more, the head can become heavy and the stretch into the neck. Just keep relaxing the legs. Often there is a tightness on the inner leg. Just keep letting go. How long can you stay tuned into your breath before the next thought takes you off? Notice if you're still with your breath, but also very mindful of the thoughts at the same time. And just enjoying the space and the quietness in this pose to be able to think and connect to yourself. Take another breath, and then when you're ready, come up. But rather than come into neutral pose, I'd just like you to come into a seated pose. We'll take this as our moment to just tune in. So just get comfortable and take a few breaths. Notice what you feel just in this position after coming out of dragonfly. Try and relax. It may not be as relaxing as lying on the floor, but we can still just observe. And then when you're ready, just blink your eyes open if you've got your eyes closed. The next pose we're going to come into is what we call puddle, which actually is like Shavasana. So we're going to actually take this as a pose for 5 minutes, but with a completely different mental perspective, not so much just relaxing and being very unaware. It's to be completely and utterly aware of this posture. So puddle, I love that name. So as you settle into this pose, just start to notice what you feel most. Perhaps it's your lower back and the tension surrounding the lower back and pelvis. And as we just gently start to nurture our breath here, we might start to notice that the abdomen softens and the lower back softens as well. Take a moment to be very aware of how the head is connected to the mat and the position of the neck. Relaxing your hands and wrists, but being very aware of what you feel. Aware of all the parts of the body that connect to the mat, heels, calves, buttocks, and also the parts that lift away from the mat. Following your breath. Can you be aware of, like we are in other poses, how it feels on the inside of the elbows, for instance, your thumbs, the tightness of your forehead or your jaw. the slow and quality of your breath. Do you notice the moments when your chin just naturally sort of tucks in? Can you be aware of any tension in the muscles around the outside of the eyes, the muscles that allow you to squint? Noticing your little toes and the temperature on the arch of your foot. Noticing if your lips feel moist or they're dry. And where the tip of your tongue naturally rests in your mouth. And so we'll just gently bring our knees in. Coming out of this pose, we'll come to seated, just to experience the difference from coming out of puddle. So taking that reflection time now, just resting, follow the breath. And just exploring in your own mind if that felt very different, being a pose, than it just being the relaxation between poses. So we'll take another breath. Let's come into twisted roots. So if you have a pillow, I always love a pillow. And maybe something for your opposite shoulder. It depends how you're feeling today, whether you're feeling like you want to go quite deeply into the twist or very gentle. So as you lie down, knees are bent, bring your left leg over your right, and we'll always start going to the right-hand side first. So just drop the body over and allow that left shoulder to either rest on something that supports the body or just sort of hang there, deepening the stretch a bit more. Allow your head to be placed wherever you find it most comfortable. And relax. Explore where you're holding tension, maybe the tops of the inner thighs. Just let the legs slide into the position that they're going to end up in. Relaxing your arms and wrists. Check in again with the inner thighs. Let them go. If you can feel the tension where you're holding the legs in place. Lovely stretch through the waist, over the left hip, down the thigh. Wonderful for gallbladder. Still imagining a lovely smiley face internally. And notice when I say that, whether that just lifts the sides of your mouth into like a very soft smile. Following your breath in this pose. Curiosity of how it sort of moves and twists through you. Keep checking in through the legs to see if the body is tensed up again. So we'll take a lovely deep breath. Ever so slowly start to unwind. We will come into neutral spine here. Lifting your body, just placing yourself back in the center of the mat. And what do you feel? Where do you feel it? Physically and emotionally. And just following whatever sensation is now just dissipating. And draw the knees in. I always like a nice little hug here before I come into the other side. Sort of just clears it so that we can sort of feel with a fresh sensation on the other side when we come in. So still in this lying position, right leg over left, and then bringing knees to the left. Roll the body over. Opening up into that right shoulder now. How does it feel? If you've gone too far into this twist or you're starting to get real pain in the back, just loosen out a little. Being gentle and nurturing with yourself. Deep breaths. Relax the buttocks, lower back, thighs. Even your shoulders. Notice what's going through your mind as you just have these moments of silence. Enjoying as the stretch develops. Where can you relax a little bit more? And we'll take one more deep breath here. Really slowly unravel. Being ever so mindful as you sort of move each part of your body. Deep breath, relax. And really noticing where you're feeling this after effect, whether it feels all centered around that lower spine. And then when you're ready, we'll hug our knees in. Take a few moments here to ease out anything that you felt through the twist. And then with a couple of blocks, we're going to come into heart bench. So one block for the head, one for the behind the heart in alignment with the spine. And when you're ready, just gently coming down. If this doesn't feel right for you today, I always offer the fact that you could do bench where you come over the pillow if that's what's needed. But if you can come into heart bench, it really is very lovely for this heart centre. take a few moments just to play with where you want the blocks. Gently settling. And again, think of that lovely internal smile inside. A very light, open heart. And maybe, as I always do, like to bring an affirmation, an emotional one, to this heart center. Depending on where you are on the scale, you can say to yourself, I really like myself today. Or I really appreciate myself today. Or I really love myself today. Or whatever fits best with the energy that you're feeling. Relaxing back, legs. And focusing on your belly breaths. How do you feel in this pose? Is it nourishing today? Just allowing yourself to tune in inwardly, ignoring exterior noise or goings on. Just noticing how the heart feels. This position now, we've been here a while. And we'll slowly take a breath and gently lifting up. Support yourself as you come up. And then back down, neutral pose, neutral spine. We'll just take a few moments here to reflect, tune into what we're feeling through our body. And then we'll hug our knees in. We're going to come into relaxation. If you want to come to seated, you can. Or remain lying down. Whatever supports you need as well, whether it's a cushion under the knees, pillow for the head. And although it's actually quite a lovely warm day, so you may still enjoy a light blanket over you that feels comforting. So returning to some lovely wisdom in this book. Just allow yourself to become comfortable and settled. And we tried what they call the rescue breath earlier, where we and stick the tongue out. And the author of this book also talks about how she's taught by her teacher, John Munro, her Qigong teacher, and how they've adapted some other breaths. When you exhale, gently sending this inner smile into each one of your organs in turn now. So we'll turn our attention to our liver, the kidneys, lungs, heart, and stomach. So as you lie or sit there, for each organ, do 3 breaths. And imagine that each breath fills that organ with warmth and happiness. And you can almost imagine a lovely little smile on the organ within. Each organ is associated with a particular emotion. If you're feeling overwhelmed by one specific emotion, you can breathe into another organ. So to dissolve anger, smile into the liver. To dissolve fear, smile into your kidneys. To dissolve grief, smile into your lungs. To dissolve sadness, smile into your heart. And to dissolve anxiety, smile into your stomach. So just take the next few minutes, maybe 2 or 3 breaths, smile in your liver. And then your kidneys. Your lungs. Your heart. And then your stomach. And just imagine all of these 5 organs having big internal smiles. So very gently now you can think about having lots of your organs smiling today. Feeling good and optimal. And if at any moment through the day something becomes overwhelming, you can just take yourself off for 5 seconds and just repeat those rescue breaths, just to get out some stagnant air, negative energy. So if you're lying down, just begin to wiggle fingers and toes. If you're seated, you can do the same and roll the shoulders. Take a few deep breaths. Nice long sigh. And then hugging your knees in, you can take your time just to gently come back into your day and roll up to seated. Feeling good, feeling happy, healthy, vibrant, and excited for what the day brings. And I always love to set an intention that come the time I go to bed, I know that I'm going to have had a lovely day and I'm going to sleep well. I've already planned it. Set the intention. You can do the same. So bringing hands to heart center. Om Shanti. Namaste.